Hi doll faces. I'm going to ramble a little bit about dreams now, and potentially also a little bit about the difference between the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious, and what that means for us when we talk about interpreting dreams in a Jungian way, at least. I have dreamed ever since I was a small child. I believe that research shows that everybody in fact does dream, and that if you don't experience rapid eye movement you very quickly die. But I know that a lot of people don't remember their dreams. A lot of people, as soon as they wake up, their dreams have just gone into the ether. They might be aware that they did dream something. They might feel a little bit psychologically exhausted and sense that yes, they did have a dream, but they won't be able to remember their dream. So I suppose what I'm trying to communicate to you is that I do remember my dreams, the vast majority of them. And some of them I can still remember now, even from having them years ago. They have a very profound effect on me, and I do dream in a very vivid way. There are some members of my family, the women on my mother's side of the family particularly, who dream in an extremely visceral way, and when they explain their dreams to other people, the ordinary reaction from other people will be, my God, I wish I could dream like that. That sounds completely like you're totally there. And I experience the same thing. I suppose I should put in here that I don't think there's any real difference between dreaming and astral projection. I believe in the astral realm as kind of a formidable and undeniable part of the realm of the imagination, which I don't consider to be any different to the realm of the physical. But I'm not going to go into that in any huge way. But I do believe that dreams are very significant, and I have recorded them for many years. I don't record all of my dreams now, but there were times in the past. I mean, I'm 28 now, and I've been keeping journals since I was a teenager. And when I go back through my journals, there are lots of journals that are pretty much half full up with dreams, where I would record my dreams in exactly the same way as I record whatever went on during the day. It was just another part of my life that I considered to have as much sway. The surrealist writer and poet Andre Breton once said that he couldn't believe that he lived in a world where people gave more importance to what happened in their waking life than to what happened in dreams. And I very much have held that same philosophy since I was really young. I think dreams are very powerful. I think they're very magical. And I think they have a lot to tell us about ourselves that we aren't aware of in waking life or on a conscious level. But as I got a little bit older, I realised that there were only certain dreams that I wanted to record, that I didn't want to record all of my dreams. And I noticed that my dreams fell into two very distinct categories. I would have kind of personal dreams that were about my any kind of problems I was having in my waking life, the relationships I was having in my waking life, the kind of things I was worried about before I went to sleep, that kind of thing. And then I would have this other category of dreams, which would be these vast, epic, very abnormal scenes where I'd go into realms that I never could ever have inhabited in my waking life, and I'd see creatures that I'd never seen in my waking life. I'd meet with characters that had nothing to do with the era at which I was alive. And those dreams, those bigger dreams, were the dreams that I really felt the desire to record, and they were the dreams that I would remember even months after I'd had them. So it became obvious to me that I did have big dreams and small dreams, is how I would have put it. And it was only later, when I started to really get into the works of Carl Gustav Jung, that I realised that he'd already theorised this. He'd already kind of made he'd kind of presented to the psychological community that we have two distinct kinds of dreams. The first are to do with the personal unconscious, and the second are to do with the collective unconscious. They tap us into much bigger, overarching themes which are universal, themes which we all experience as human beings, and that's kind of what mythologies are based off of and stuff like that. So with the big dreams, you're tapping into things that you yourself in your personal unconscious have not really encountered, but in the collective unconscious they are there. They are what make you human. They are part of the psychological language of what it means to be human. And when I read this, something really clicked in my brain, and I thought, okay, that's why I have these big dreams which are so kind of overarching, but which I can't really connect to anything that's going on in my life. And then I have these smaller dreams, these dreams from the personal unconscious, which make a lot more sense and which have people in them that I live with or love, and they have my anxieties in them. They make sense. The smaller dreams from the personal unconscious tend to make sense to us much more. The bigger dreams take a lot more effort, and you will find, if you have these bigger dreams, that if you start actually researching researching some of the symbolism in these big dreams that you're having, or if you research some of the characters, or you research some of the things that you've seen, you will very well notice that those things come from a kind of ancient mythology, from one civilization or another, and things will start to click. You are then tapping into the collective unconscious, the universal memory. So this was very exciting for me, and in fact Jung actually established this theory of big dreams and small dreams through having a dream himself. He had a dream where he was in a house, and the house was decorated in the style of the time. Everything was modern, there were all the modern appliances that he would have known of at that time in his life, and everything was decorated in the usual style of where he was living, and everything was modern. And then he dreamed that he went down a set of stairs, and in the next level of the house everything was decorated in a kind of Regency style. It was older by about 150 years or so, and he felt kind of out of place and a bit like, oh okay, I'm back in the past now. And then he went down another set of steps in the dream, and it was all kind of 1500s, 1600s kind of thing, with like the stone flag floors and like tapestries on the wall, and none of the modern conveniences that he'd become used to. And he realised that he was even further back in time. And then eventually he went down and down, and he came across kind of like a Roman style room, like ruins, and then right in the basement he was in kind of a Neolithic tomb basically. And he woke up from that dream, and that was where he kind of separated in his mind from the Freudian way of thinking. He realised that there was something more than the personal unconscious. There was something deeper, and that was why people made these connections all the time, these seemingly synchronistic connections to ancient mythology, ancient symbolism, things they could never have known about, things they'd never read about, but coincidentally, just through being human, those subjects had come up in dreams. And that was where he kind of severed from Freud. And I would argue that there are two other main big ways in which he severed from Freud. The first being that Jung believed that the search for spirit, the search for meaning, and the search for God was intrinsic and very meaningful and valuable, whereas Freud believed that it was a delusion. And the other way in which he differed from Freud, of course, was with this idea that the unconscious is only a useful tool to delve into in order to recognise our repressed desires. Whereas Jung kind of took this view that no, the unconscious is so much more meaningful than that. There's stuff down there that can really connect us to the collective knowledge of what it is to be human, and you know, we can find things in there that are from the world of spirit. And Freud was kind of like, whoa, that's as far as we can go together. You need to take your own road now. And Jung, thank God, actually did. So that was good. That was very good for me. So yeah, we have these big dreams and these small dreams. If you're a Jungian theorist, that's how you'd see it. And these days I only record my big dreams. For example, the night before last I had a dream about a friend of mine who had died unexpectedly in the dream, and everybody came to his funeral, and there were friends there that I hadn't seen for a while, and there was a bit of drama. It was a very, very long, kind of epic, sprawling dream, but when I woke up I knew exactly what that dream meant. I had been worried about this friend for a long time because he has health problems and he kind of likes to live life on the edge. And it had been coming up in my mind once or twice recently that I was concerned for him, and I was worried about maybe how long he'd have left to live if he kept living on the edge quite so much. So that for me was a small dream. That was a representation in my unconscious of something that I am anxious about in waking life, so it didn't need to be recorded. Whereas when I wake up from a big dream, I know it. And I knew it before I read Jung, but now that I have the understanding of the difference between big and small dreams, that's quite useful for me, because now I wake up from having a big dream and I know that I need to write it down. A lot of people write all of their dreams down because they feel that even those smaller dreams which connect to the personal unconscious can be very useful and can show us things about ourselves that we hadn't quite been able to connect to in waking life. I also know that when I was younger I used to love recording all of my dreams to see whether or not any of them were precognitive. I've had to date one precognitive dream that I can remember, in which I kind of, it's like a dream premonition. You dream something and then it happens. But I think that precognitive dreams are not always very, very literal. Like the one that I had was about a dog dying. I was the dog and I went under the wheels of a car and died. And then literally the next day, this family, that my best friend at the time, her dog went under the wheels of a car and died. So that for me was 100% precognitive, but precognitive dreams are not always literal. Sometimes there's a little roundabout way to understand how you may have gotten the inkling of something coming into being that hadn't yet happened. And that's why a lot of people like to record their dreams too, because you can get those little clues. Some people use the word psychic. I don't really favour that word, but those who are trying to hone their psychic ability will have a particular interest in recording their dreams for that reason. And, you know, I think a lot of other things as well, like deja vu, for example. There are scientific explanations as to why deja vu occurs. But when it does occur, it's ever so powerful, and the human mind really feels there's a great deal of significance and weight behind that experience of deja vu. So that might be another reason why you might wish to record your dreams, so that you can go back and take a look and see if anything like that kind of came into being on the astral before it came into being on the physical. And I know a lot of people that have written down their dreams with real commitment have made incredible discoveries, and have kind of even nonchalantly gone back through what they've written years before and thought, my God, that really came together in a way on the physical realm. That's incredible. So, you know, the dream world is very exciting, and I dream so avidly. I dream all the time, every night. But there are certain things that can influence how much you do dream, and I know a lot of people who've been dreaming very avidly for a great many years feel incredibly distressed when suddenly their dreams are not as easily recollectable in waking life, or when they just plainly and simply can't remember having dreamt anything. And that can be quite alarming and quite sad, because if your waking life is very kind of active and you feel like you really do go to another place when you fall asleep, when you lose that, it can be quite saddening. But I think sometimes it's to do with your biorhythms, or how exhausted you are physically, how much work you're doing, how much of your mental capacity you're actually offering to something in your waking life. For example, I have a friend who's a doctor, and she said that during her master's degree and her way towards getting a PhD, she didn't dream at all, and she found that stressed her out more. But she was dedicating so much of her mental capacity to such an intense level of work that it made sense that she wouldn't necessarily be able to connect with or remember her dreams in the morning. Because I mean, if you were running around just as much in the astral as you were in the physical, and dedicating as much time to it, you'd be completely exhausted. I also know a few people who have been habitual smokers of marijuana and found that they didn't really dream in any way that they could recollect or connect to. And then when they stopped smoking marijuana, the THC content left their body, and suddenly their dreams were like the most epic, wondrous, outrageous dreams you've ever known of. And even in the telling of them, you'd sit there saying, you didn't dream that. That you can't have dreamt that. It's stranger than fiction. And there are a few theories for why that might be. Some people say that THC makes you more expansive and more cerebral during your waking life, and therefore the reason to have dreams, if you believe that you have dreams because the unconscious is trying to feed you something or connect you to something, if you're having that experience with your unconscious in your waking life because you're smoking weed habitually, then you probably won't need so much to connect with your dreams. There won't be that desire to connect with your dreams. Another theory is that THC screws with your memory, and so, you know, you need to have quite a clarified memory to wake up and remember what you've been dreaming. If the first thing you do is wake up and roll a joint, you won't have that. You'll have a hazy memory, so you won't be able to grasp your dreams. And even though I dream very avidly and very vividly, there will be times where I'll wake up and I'll have to just stop for a moment to recollect the memory of the dream. There'll be this thread of understanding, but the picture won't be there, and I'll hang on to it. And my boyfriend does the same thing, and I'll say, hang on a minute, hang on, I'm going to get it. And he just sits there and waits, and I say, I know, okay, this is what happened, and you kind of, it unravels as you pull hold of it. But there are many mornings you wake up and you know you've dreamed, but you can't really think exactly what the content was. So I think recording dreams is a very important thing to do. I think a lot of people that have never considered recording their dreams before are quite surprised when they're asked to do so during therapy. Your therapist is quite likely to tell you to write down what you can remember in dreams and see if you can get anything from it. When I was younger, my stepmother had a dream interpretation dictionary, and this was the first experience that I really had of understanding that people believe that dreams are full of meaningful symbols. And these dictionaries, I mean, they're foul, no offence to anyone who owns one and uses one, but I just think they're so generic and painfully banal. If you look through them, it goes in an A to Z format. And say if you dreamed of rice, for example, rice falling from the sky, or you were cooking a bowl of rice, you go to R in the Dream Interpretation Dictionary and it will say, you dreamed of rice, so soon there'll be a wedding, or whatever. And it's not at all helpful, and it's not at all encouraging you to delve into your understanding of yourself, and your own unconscious and the workings of your inner terrain, which no book can ever tell you about. You need to go there yourself. Jung really believed that you already have all of the tools that you will ever need to understand your own dreams. He never told anybody what their dream meant. He taught them how to work a path towards their own innate understanding, because of course Jung is not his client, his patient, and the patient is not him. So he always believed you have a ready-made toolkit, and really the therapist's job is to help you understand that toolkit and how everything in it works. Some people who may have great difficulty understanding the symbolism in their dreams or trying to connect them to anything in waking life might like to try something like Jung's exercise of active imagination. Active imagination is a kind of meditation technique, but instead of focusing on the breath and clearing the mind, with active imagination we actually sit to invite the unconscious to overtake. So we are welcoming a waking dream, if you like. So we try to relinquish control over the imagination. So it's not like a guided visualization where you will very much rein your imagination in and you will imagine the forest and you'll imagine the ocean or whatever. With active imagination, you need to release, you need to completely relinquish control and permit the imagination to come over you like a wave. And sometimes that can take your imagination to some very intense and scary places. And many people that teach active imagination or advise that people use active imagination often say that potentially you should try doing it with a therapist first, or try it in very small bouts, because it can get quite distressing for people that haven't really tried it before and are trying to make that connection to their dream life. Sometimes things will come up in your imagination whilst you're awake, and they'll be so distressing or so unusual to you, and if you don't have a good handle on how to connect with your imagination and how to break down the meaning of symbolism, you might feel guilt, you might feel embarrassment, you might feel ashamed of what your imagination has actually given to you, because you don't yet understand that there's symbolism underlying everything, and if you crack that symbolism open like an atom, this whole other bunch of crap is going to come out of it. And it's really how deep you're prepared to go. If you're not comfortable with interpreting symbolism, and if you're not comfortable with understanding that your imagination is very much its own animal in many ways, it will take you. We've been daydreaming since we were children, and that's all it really is. The active imagination technique is a way to return to permitting ourselves to daydream, to go into a trance. And if you're not very good at actually working out what symbolism is and understanding that everything is metaphor in the imagination, then you might feel guilty, or you might feel awkward or a bit unusual after having undertaken active imagination. So it's not right for everybody, but I find it really, really illuminating, and I would recommend that if you try active imagination, that you have a book next to you so you can write down what your experiences have been and how you felt about the exercise. So yeah, I do interpret my dreams. I only interpret big dreams now, the collective unconscious dreams, and I do so by breaking it all down into symbols and into characters, and I do research to try and understand what these unusual symbols are that I've never seen before, or these unusual places. And it's many times I've come across the answers. It's incredible, really. I truly believe in the collective unconscious, and I truly believe that these big dreams, these archetypal, very unusual dreams that have nothing to do with my time or my place, or my sense of being in the world, are a connection to this primal basement room that Jung dreamed of so long ago, that enabled him to understand that the collective unconscious traverses gender lines, class lines, race division. It traverses, it's no respecter of age, it's no respecter of position in the world. Everybody seems to have this link. For some people it's tenuous, for some people it disappears and then comes back into existence, and for other people we're actively searching for it. We are seekers, so it's going to be even bigger for us and even more easy to grasp hold of. But we all seem to have this link to that basement room of civilization, of what it means to be human. And I really believe that these bigger dreams tap me into that. And I do believe in a lot of ways that when you dream, it's like a huge privilege. I think you're tapping into the line between the spiritual and the physical, in a sense. I think it's one of the most magical things we can do, and I don't think we should waste it. I don't think we should take it for granted, especially if a dream affects us. I think we should go after that experience and relish it and really come to understand it more. So I think that's all I'm going to say for now. I've wanted to talk about dreams for quite a while on the channel, actually, and I just thought today, I was just thinking, I was writing some things down, and I thought I might have a little chat with you about dreams. So if you have any experiences of your own that you'd like to share with me, or you know, if there are any questions that you have, obviously I'm no expert on dream theory, but it is something that I put into practice. If you want to check out more about Carl Jung and his approach to dream work, he does actually have a book called Dreams, which is very useful. But if you find Jung's writing a bit dense and a bit archaic for your contemporary mind, then there is an awesome psychoanalyst, a Jungian analyst, who did an incredible book called Dream Work and the Active Imagination, I think. I'm going to link that book via Amazon link in the space below, because I think if you would like somewhere a little bit more simple to start, and you would like the language to be a little bit more kind of friendly and interactive, this book is solid gold for both dream work and active imagination in a Jungian sense. So I would recommend that you definitely buy it if anything in this video has made you feel a little bit more curious or a little bit more desirous to know more. Much love, blessed be.